show.
Welcome to episode 168 of the Gluttons For Punishment Podcast, or GFP, a Toronto Maple Leafs and NHL podcast hosted by Michael Lepore and Anthony Bruno. He's Lepore, I'm Bruno. Thank you so much for listening and watching us on YouTube as well. Just when you thought they were different, just when you thought they were finally going to get over the hump, the Leafs did it to us again. 9 years of the same shit. Unable to win a big game for 9 years in the Matthews, Marner, and Nylander era. We are going to get into the embarrassment that we just witnessed in Game 7. We are going to wrap up the Leafs season in general. It is our annual obituary episode of the Leafs crashing out of the playoffs. And then we will talk about where the hell this team is going to go from here. But before we get into all that, it is time to officially welcome in my partner in crime, Mr. Michael Lepore. How you doing, Lepore?
How am I doing, Anthony Bruno? You ask me every show, but I feel like this time's a little different. Kind of emotionally exhausted. People who are going on Twitter right now, jumping on the live YouTube streams, downloading podcasts tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of emotion from Leafs fans. I'm sure a lot of screaming, a lot of swearing, a lot of pointing fingers, whatever. I don't really feel that way. Like, I'm not angry. I'm kind of sad, and I'm just like humbled by the whole thing. Because I think what was shown to us today, and we saw it in Game 5, Florida is so much fucking better than us. Like, it's just that. Like, you're just watching, and you're like, this is not even close. My wife watching was freaking out. Like, this is men against boys. Like, she was that line. And my wife spit out, first to every puck, like a real hockey analysis. But there's nothing you can really say. There's no, in previous years we had, like last year, we lose in Game 7 in overtime, this stupid bounce off the glass. Like, it's hockey, whatever. This was just like, the Florida Panthers, an elite team, is on another planet than us. And it's not about talent. I mean, it's a cap league. Like, people always point to the Leafs like, oh, they got this guy, that guy. It's a fucking cap league. If we're heavy at the top, we're not heavy at the bottom. It's just how we decided to build our team. It's not about talent or high-end talent or the types of players you have in terms of their playing style. It's like, I hate to use those like cliche things like, oh, a team has an it factor, but you saw from puck drop, Toronto was afraid. They've been here before and didn't matter. They were afraid, and Florida took control. They were like, fuck this. Florida came to win. They went expecting to win, and it showed. That's Bruno. Do you see that stat from Sportsnet Stats? Like, we always say, oh, that is very Toronto Maple Leafs. Through the first two periods, Toronto allowed 75 attempts at net. Okay, it was the most. It was the most any team had allowed this entire regular season and the playoffs. Game 7 of the second round at home, a chance to go to the conference finals, and from here on out have home ice advantage in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And you play the worst 2 periods any team has played all fucking season. You don't have it.
That's beyond fucked up.
Yeah. I think it finished at like 97 attempts on net or like 95 attempts on net. What? They had like 20. I think it was 21 in the first 5-10 minutes. It's terrible. Terrible. And like there's nothing to say. Like, it's about fear. It's between the ears. Like, people will say, oh, they got demons or skeletons in the closet, whatever. Like, use whatever terminology you want. But tonight we were shown that they're not close. Like, they're not close to where we want to be and where every fan hopes their team is going to be.
And that was my fear coming into this series, Lepore. That's why I picked the Panthers to win in 6 games. I just couldn't when you see something, when you watch these games and you dig into the numbers like I do, when you see it, you can't unsee it. I said at the start of this series how elite the Panthers are at 5-on-5. They were going to dictate the game at 5-on-5 when it came to shot attempts, scoring chances, expected goals, all of those fancy stats. And that's exactly what happened. The Leafs got caved in pretty much this entire series. And sure, they got off to a great start. They won the first 2 games. Sure, they could have been up 3-0 if they had held on to that 3-1 lead in game 3. It could have been a completely different story. But when you look at this series as a whole, more often than not, the Panthers were just the better team, as you said. And just when you thought that they couldn't embarrass themselves as much as they did in game 5, they fucking ran it back and had an even more embarrassing performance in game 7. Like, just when you thought you had seen it all with this team, Lepore, just when you thought you had seen every possible pathetic, piss-poor effort you could possibly see from a team this talented, they went out and they put the cherry on top. They put the cherry on top of this era of Leafs hockey, 9 years of this team. And Lepore, we might never see a group of players this talented ever again in a Leafs uniform. When you look at Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, like, we might go another 100 years of Leafs hockey and never have 4 players playing together at the same time who are this talented. Matthews already has over 400 goals. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know, Mitch Marner, I mean, say what you will, but if he keeps putting up 100-point seasons, he might be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's
John Tavares.
Easy.
William Nylander, like, these guys could all be Hall of Famers. And I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy for me to say that, but if you play out their entire careers and you look at their body of work, there's a pretty good chance that all 4 of those guys will probably be in the Hall of Fame. So to have all 4 of those guys at once in a 9-year stretch, and I know Tavares wasn't there for the full 9 years, but for them to be this pathetic in winner-take-all games when all the chips are down, you couldn't be this bad even if you tried. So it just goes back to what I was saying. I thought the Panthers were going to win this series, and Lepore, I tricked myself because I've been saying throughout the whole season, and you know, on several episodes of this show, I've been very weary about this Leafs team. I would keep saying, like, man, this team constantly gets outshot, constantly gets caved in at 5-on-5. How long can they possibly sustain this? And you see that when you go up against elite teams, you might be able to do that against Ottawa. You might be able to rely on your goaltending and your efficient shooters and your power play. But then when you run into Florida, you run into Carolina, you run into Dallas or Edmonton, go down the list, you're not going to get away with this shit. And you saw it in this series. When you're playing a team like this, a well-oiled championship caliber team that's buttoned up, plays downhill, plays aggressive, controls the play, it's good night. So I think the Leafs kind of proved me right, honestly. And they tricked me because I thought that they were maybe a little bit different at the end of the season. But even I got fooled, Lepore. I should have stuck with my guns all season. I just didn't like what I saw from this team throughout the year. So for everyone who told you that they were different, there's a lot of things that show that they actually weren't different and that they actually may have been worse than in past seasons. Anyway, I'll stop my rant there. It's time for a quick break for a word about Manscaped. We all know the drill, fellas. No matter how many times you ask, Dad's not going to tell you what he wants for Father's Day. He's just not going to do it. And that's why Manscaped is taking the guesswork out of gifting this year. With Father's Day right around the corner, there's no better time to upgrade his grooming game with the Beard and Balls bundle featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra and the Beard Hedger electric trimmers. So get your father exactly what he needs. And the way you're going to do that is by using our exclusive code GFP15 for 15% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Lepore, I mean, you'd just be crazy to not gift your father something from Manscaped for the big day.
What else would you do? Summer's coming up. Your dad's going to be on the beach in Calabria rocking the Speedo. He's got to be clean, man. As Bruno said, head to the website GFP15 for 15% off and free shipping. Make your dad a happy guy on Father's Day.
Oh, I love that, man. Rocking the Speedo in Calabria.
Buddy.
I could see all the Italian fathers they just don't care. They just really don't care.
Zero fucks given, Bruno.
All right, so get 15% off and free shipping using our exclusive code GFP15 at manscaped.com. Head to manscaped.com for 15% off and free shipping using our exclusive code GFP15.
Yeah, I think the two things that completely sum up these two teams, the two things I take from this series are, okay, I just finished saying Florida is far superior than the Toronto Maple Leafs, just watching them. And Bruno, once in a while, I put the coaching hat on, how good they are in the neutral zone. And then when they get in the offensive zone after they stop you, it's just like you're waiting for a scoring chance. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. Like, as a neutral, the Florida Panthers, anyone who loves like the X's and O's of this sport, Florida is amazing to watch. Okay. So yeah, there is that factor, but the two things that jump out to me from this series are, okay, like I said, Florida's way better than us, but somehow we were up 2-0 in this series. Okay. 2 quick goals in game 3. And as you mentioned, eventually it got to 3-1. Okay. Had it been the other way around, if Toronto lost the first 2 games and was down 2-0 early in game 3, the series is fucking over. They would have got blown out in game 3.
There's no way they would have been able to pull off what the Panthers just pulled off. No chance.
No, there's not a prayer in hell. And like, on the point of the team trying to beat the Panthers, when you're up 2-0, again, hockey's a weird sport. You can beat a team that's better than you. You're up 2-0. You have a 2-goal lead in game 3. You have to win. They had to win that game. Like, it was a bad, and it was a weird goal that ended up beating us. And who knows? Fucking hockey's hilarious. If we end up winning that game, I guess we probably win the series up 3-0. There was that factor, and also the matter of this game tonight in the third period. Okay, and I said to my wife right away as soon as it happened, Domi scores, makes it 3-1.
We have a game.
We have a game, and it's that thing of like, okay, it always happens in hockey. Now you've that 2-goal lead. There's that little bit of nervousness in the other team. You try to get one maybe with like 10 or 12 minutes left, and then it's fucking game on. You're betting on the team down by 1 at that point. Okay. Leafs get that goal. What does Florida do?
Immediately
scores right back. Scores right back. And I turned to my wife and I said, that's the difference. If the Leafs were up 3-0 in this game and Florida scored 2 minutes into the third, I would have been shitting my pants because I would have been so afraid of how the Leafs were going to react to that goal. It's like, here we go. Here we go. Florida, they weren't even fucking phased. They didn't even flinch. Bang, 4-1. Deal with that. It's not close, man. It's not close. And people can dissect why it's not close, because like I said, it's not about talent. It's not about, the types of players you have. Well, it is about the types of players you have, but I mean more in the way of like higher teams built. It's just like the DNA of these guys. I can't even, and you tell me, Bruno, if someone said to you, okay, who was bad tonight? It's not even like, I'd just be like, nobody was bad. They were just all fucking ghosts. Like, it was like Nyes, Nylander, all of them. It was just,
go down the list. Tavares, Matthews, Marner, complete ghosts at 5-on-5. You know what pissed me off so much, Lepore, and not even just in this game, throughout the series? The Leafs offense turned into, we can't generate a goddamn thing at 5-on-5, so let's hope we get a breakaway or an odd man rush, or else we can't score a goal. Like, even on the Domi goal tonight, like, it was a bad line change by Florida. He kind of comes in on like a partial breakaway and scores. Right? Like, that's how the Leafs were generating offense the entire series. Whereas Florida, like, you know, they could beat you off the rush. They dump it in and they grind it, and they grind you down, and they cycle the puck, and then they get pucks to the point. And, you know, like, there's so many different ways that team can generate offense. And you said it, man, it's not like they're littered like with all these star players. You want to know who the 2 leading scorers in the playoffs are for Florida?
Sure.
Like, take a guess. Who are the 2? There's 2 guys tied for the scoring lead on their team through 2 rounds.
I'm thinking now because you said it's going to be like semi-random. Is it Bennett? I want to say Bennett. I feel like I've just heard his name a lot.
Brad Marchand and
My second guess was gonna. My second guess was gonna be. Was that my sorry? My second guess was gonna be Marchand.
Okay. So it's Marchand and Lusterainen who are tied with 12 points in 12 games.
Okay.
They're the two leading scorers for Florida. Then you have Reinhart, 11 points, Lundell, 10, Barkov, 10, Bennett, 9, Kachuk, 9, Verhaeghe, 8. They just have like so many guys. They don't have the top end players that the Leafs do. And not to say that, their top guys are not elite players. Like Barkov's an elite player. Kachuk, when he's fully healthy, I would say is an elite player.
Reinhart,
50-goal scorer, right? Like, but they just have so many guys, man. 1 through 9, they are so deep up front. So that's what pissed me off so much. Like, what was your take on, even seeing Marner, right? The clip that's going viral, telling the bench to wake up. This dude didn't generate a goddamn thing at 5-on-5 throughout this entire series, and then he's the guy yelling at the bench.
Not even just that. It's like, Mitch, we've watched you for a long time, right? Like that famous clip of McDavid in the locker room after going, was it when they went 2-0 down to Florida, just losing it on the team. It felt so real and authentic, and you just knew this guy's a fucking psychopath, and this probably happens all the time. But with Marner, it was just so random and whatever that it was him. Like, I've never seen that. So now you decide.
It almost felt like that was like orchestrated by him too. It felt kind of fake in a way.
Of course.
It's like, after 9 years, we've never seen this type of emotion out of you. You've never taken accountability. And he's not the only guy. A lot of these guys, I don't know if it's how they're trained by the PR team. None of them take fucking accountability after these big losses. And I have not seen the post-game quotes yet. Maybe I should take a look on Twitter as we're doing the show right now. But my God, none of them take accountability. And then Marner, for the first time in 9 years, when he might be out the door, now he's showing emotion. Now he's telling the boys to wake up. Now he wants to be the leader. After 9 fucking years, he does it. And maybe his final game is a Leaf. It's just, it's pathetic.
Is this like, where does this rank, Bruno? Like, tonight, we're going to have to digest it for a while, but man, we were in a game 7 in the second round and people were fucking throwing shit on the ice.
Man,
midway through the third period, the seats, like the platinums were empty. The first bowl was empty. Like, this is like all-time embarrassment. Like, holy fuck, boys. Like, just when we that thing that goes around, our expectations were low, but holy fuck. Like, this was a movie.
That was cringeworthy at the end, man.
Oh
like,
my God.
When they stayed on the ice to salute the crowd, they were getting booed off the ice.
Yeah.
I couldn't even watch it. Like, I actually kind of felt bad for them in a way.
It was
like,
cringy.
This is so pathetic.
Because I said to the people I was watching the game with, I was like, are they going to salute the crowd like they always do? And just like, because it was so awkward. Like, what kind of reaction we going to get? Man, I don't know. And you mentioned the post game shit. Like, I don't know what I want. I don't want the cliche answers. We know how Tavares is. We know how O'Reilly is, Matthews. But here I'm yawning because I'm so tired and exhausted after watching my fucking hockey team just take everything out of me, rip my soul and heart out. I want to see someone. Can somebody get mad? For crying out loud. Can somebody cry? Can somebody swear? Unreal. Like, if I don't know how I'm going to be, Bruno, if I turn it on YouTube tomorrow, they post it every day. And it's just like, yeah, it was a close series. It was 7 games and things didn't go our way. And credit to that. Like, if I hear that bullshit, I'm going to have a fucking meltdown. And actually, there was a quick clip of it during the game where Berube was losing his mind. And Chris Johnson, who's in a lot of Leafs games, said Berube was fucking red, livid, mad. And he said he doesn't think he's seen him be like kind of present that way since he's been the coach in Toronto. So even for him, like, what the fuck is happening, boys? What do you say in the locker room after?
Yeah, it's so pathetic that you can't really say anything.
No. And it's that whole thing. It's like, you hate to be super derogatory or super negative, but like, you guys are losers. What are you going to get upset? I mean, making that comment. You're a fucking loser. Oh, you're a winner? No, the guys in the Florida Panthers are winners. Unreal. Like, I don't have a comparison to this in sports. Like, I can't think of a time I've watched a game. Like, I've watched games and it was going around like, oh, is this the worst Game 7 performance ever? And people were posting different ones. Like, people posted the Blues, the effort the Bruins put up against the Blues in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final. I remember there was a really bad one by Calgary. I think it was in 2006 at home. Like, they just totally laid an egg. But no, this was like, there's the cliche saying, like, you stayed on the bus. The Leafs stayed on the bus.
Oh,
like, this was all time bad. Like, you could, honest question here. Honest question. Okay. And this is going to sound funny. I gave you that stat before of the 75 attempts on net through 2 periods. Okay. And they flirted with 100 for the whole game. Okay. That shows the difference in this game. Okay. Would the Marlies have done worse?
Honestly, it's hard to say that the Marlies would have done worse because I think this was purely like an effort and a mindset. Like, after the performance that they put on in Game 6, which I thought was one of the top 3 performances of the season, they locked it down defensively. They allowed the least amount of slot shots of any team in the playoffs in Game 6. They blocked a fuck ton of shots. Matthews finally rose from the dead. Even Marner, who set up the goal from Austin Matthews, the game winner. It's like, finally, 34-16, rise from the dead. For them to put on that clinical performance on the road in Game 6, and then to run it back and do the same bullshit that they did in Game 5, to do it again in Game 7, it's a travesty. Here's another one from Sportsnet Stats. Maple Leafs match NHL record for the largest margin of defeat by a home team in a Game 7.
Yeah, well, not surprising. Not surprising.
Also, some other tweets here I'm reading courtesy of Luke Fox from Sportsnet. He's saying John Tavares says he wants to come back. Mitch Marner said it's too early to discuss his future. Of course, what else do you think he's going to say? Craig Berube says the Panthers were better and more desperate tonight. Says most disappointing part of series was games 5 and 7 at home. Berube went on to say, to me, it's all between the ears. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
There you go.
It is mindset. And the point I made about the Marlies, it's ironic because what just popped in my head is the World Championships is going on. So you have, I was saying like teams like Canada. You have a team Canada that's got Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon. Okay. And this is a tournament that's got teams like Denmark, Germany, is fighting France is in it. And you don't see beatings like the Florida Panthers laid on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. You might see, oh, they won 6-1, but like the attempts aren't that crazy. The Corsi's not that crazy. The deserve a win meter is probably not that crazy. Tonight was like all time historically in hockey, embarrassing. And you nailed it, Bruno, when you said just when we thought we've seen it all. This was like, we got nothing. We got nothing. People are in the locker room when I'm at hockey on Tuesday are going to be making the jokes, pointing at me, and I've got nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, we have literally no response. Like, Leaf fans can't say anything to the garbage that is about to be spewed our way because it's all true at this point.
What's worse, Bruno? Like, they're very different, but had we lost in overtime tonight, how would you feel? Like, obviously, maybe the disappointment would be more because, like I said, I just feel kind of numb and humbled. But this is just like, what the fuck?
It would feel more like, remember when we lost to Tampa in Game 7?
Yeah,
2022, and everyone was like, you know what? Yes, they lost in the first round again, but let's run it back. Because remember, we outscored Tampa in that series and still lost the series.
Every stat.
We won the 5-on-5 battle, all of that shit. Remember there was that stupid pick play. Remember like Justin Hall picked a guy and then Tavares scored and they called the goal off. Like there was some just bullshit in that game. And people were like, you know what? They lost in the first round again. They lost in game 7 on home ice, but let's run this shit back because there's some positive things. So I think if they had taken this to overtime, not even if it went to overtime, if they lost by a goal, they needed that, that last minute barrage, empty net, trying to get the tying goal. I think people would have felt better about the performance tonight, but for it to end like this, and Lepore, final shot attempts in the game, 91-56 for Florida. For the
I'm surprised we got 56.
And that is because the shot attempts in the third period were 23-16 for the Leafs. But first period, 36-19 for the Panthers. Second period, 39-14 for the Panthers. So we had 75 shot attempts in the first two periods.
Sorry, you said 19 and 14 in the first two periods? Yeah. So we had 33 attempts on net.
75-33 were the shot attempts through 40 minutes of play in game 7.
Hard to do. And what's crazy, Bruno, this is what's even crazier about it. Sorry, 91. Florida got 91.
Yeah, 91 total.
They only got 1 power play. It's not like they had 6 power. Oh my God, this team.
And Lepore, the 5-on-5 shot attempts were 85-55 for Florida. 85-55.
Fuck? I don't know. Like, you know what, man? I'm going to take a positive out of this, and I'll say what I say every year. Well, now it's time for me to sit back and actually enjoy the playoffs and just watch and have a good time. Bruno and I are meeting up on Thursday of this week. We're going to watch the Eastern Conference Final, Bruno.
I thought, holy shit, Lepore is going to come over. He's driving over from Ottawa. We're going to watch Leafs-Canes Game 2 on Thursday night. And now we'll still be watching hockey, but it won't be our Leafs, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, our boy Julian was at the game tonight. He bought a ticket. Yeah,
God bless his heart, because he spent a shitload of money on that ticket.
I think the number, he sent me the screenshot, I think $690 for like nosebleed in the corner.
Yeah.
Single.
He spent nearly $700 to watch the Leafs put on maybe the most embarrassing performance of the last, 25 years?
Actually crazy. Like it's too easy. It's too easy for the other fan bases now. Bruno, maybe we move on because we gotta wrap up eventually. So maybe we should talk about that other shit.
Lepore, where do we go from here? Because here's my mindset. It was clear throughout these entire playoffs, and even if you want to go back over the last 3 or 4 years, William Nylander is this team's most dangerous playoff performer. Like, it's not even close. When he has the puck on his stick, when he's skating around, like, he just jumps off the page. He can generate things on his own. He can set up teammates. He's a star. Okay. When that guy has the puck on his stick, and you saw from Paul Maurice, like, he was originally putting the Barkov line on Matthews and Marner. He switched and said, fuck this. I'm putting the Barkov and Reinhart line on Nylander because this guy's killing us. Right. So that showed you everything. So moving forward, this team has Nylander under contract for a long time. I thought Matthew Nyes was awesome again in the playoffs. Big game player. I believe he ended up with 5 goals in this playoff run. We all know what he brings to the table. He's going to be a big part of this future. 34-16, I thought were ghosts. I thought Tavares was a ghost throughout the playoffs. So where do we go from here? Because obviously Matthews is still under contract. I don't want to start some bullshit saying like Matthews is going to get traded. Yeah. This is coming down to Marner and Tavares.
Yeah.
What do you think happens here? Let's start with Marner, Lepore. Like, do you think he's going to be back? Like, how does he go in with a straight face to the Leafs management and demand like 13 or 14 million a year when Mikko Rantanen just signed for 12.5? And I get it, tax differences in Texas, and he's putting on a fucking otherworldly performance right now in the playoffs. How do you, with a straight face, ask for more money than Rantanen? How do you even ask for more money than Nylander at this point? Anyway, this is a long-winded way of me asking you, what do you think is going to happen with Marner?
It seems like his vibe and it seems like his words have changed a little bit in the last little while. If had you asked me a few months ago, or say even like end of last season, the summer, I would have said no. Mitch wants to stay is kind of how I would have put it. But again, the Leafs don't have to sign him. But I thought if he wanted to stay, he could stay. I'm not getting that vibe now. And you're asking me right after we got eliminated. So who knows how I'll feel in a few days. But I made it clear on this show that I wanted the Leafs to sign Mitch Marner. Full blown. I think he's an incredible player. I think he's a different type of talent. He's a 200-foot winger. Not a lot of those exist in the National Hockey League. And to the point about him and Matthews being ghosts, okay, people say, "Oh, excuse, Matthews is injured. Like this isn't even a thing." And like Matthew Tkachuk is injured. Like he's better than
Lepore? I hope it's a significant injury.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Because you said it with Tkachuk, like he visibly can't even move out there.
Yeah,
like he still has the hands. He's making plays. Like Matthews, like he can still move out there. It's not like he's laboring or anything. Lepore, I'm praying we find out that it's bad.
That's why I think it's something with Matthews, and I'm fucking just galaxy braining this, but I think we're going to find out it's like, everyone's like, oh, it's his back. Oh, it's his wrist again. No, I think it's going to be like his shoulder or elbow or something that he can still play. He can still skate around, be effective that way, but it puts his shot at 70-80%. So the 69 goal scorer becomes a 40 goal scorer. So I think it's something like that. But to the point of those two, like being quote unquote ghosts, how much of that actually, we'll go over the stat. Okay. We'll go over the stat. So it was prior to game 6. Okay. Matthews had played 10 career playoff games against Florida. Okay. 0 goals. 0 goals in 10 games. So you would say, holy shit, Matthews is trash, this and that. Okay. But then they put up another stat. In Nikita Kucherov's last 10 playoff games against Florida, 0 goals. In the Stanley Cup final last year, 7 games, Leon Draisaitl, 0 goals. So yes, I'm not saying Matthews and Marner can't take any blame, but fucking credit to Florida's doing something, right? And I think, even to be fair, I think kind of the strategy of Toronto was to just, okay, we'll neutralize the first 2 lines. Like almost like we'll take the tie and then figure out a way to win. And they almost did after the first 3 games. But man, like that, I don't know. But yeah, as far as Marner goes, like I wanted Marner to sign. Like I said, I think he's an incredible player, a different type of player. Not a lot of him exists in the National Hockey League. But if I get the alert on my phone on July 1 or whenever that he signed a deal with insert team here, it'll just be like, oh, okay. Like I get it.
Yeah, like I don't think anyone's going to be phased at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to put it. And I don't know what is the percentage meter? So July 1, Marner signs an 8-year extension with Toronto at like, 13 million or whatever he signs for. What percentage of Leafs fans are livid? What percentage of Leafs fans are happy? And what percentage of Leafs fans are kind of neutral on it?
Well, I think if you asked Leaf fans right now, almost 100% of them would be like, fuck this guy. Go have fun in Muskoka over the summer and never play for us again.
It'd be so Leafs if it like came out tomorrow.
Yeah. But I think once we have time to kind of sit back, because listen, I'm on the same page as you. Like I was a huge advocate of Mitch Marner. Like I said, the Leafs should sign this guy to a long-term deal. He's a great player, a great 200-foot player, as you said. But Lepore, man, even us who have been defending Mitch Marner year after year after year, it's even hard for me now to keep defending this core.
Yeah.
How do you keep running it back? Like we saw, Treliving tried to trade him for Mikko Rantanen. He tried. So here's the thing. Mitch might want to come back, and Mitch might want $13.5 million a year, but Brad Treliving might be like, you know what? I've now been here for a couple years, and you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to let you walk. I'm going to take the salary, and listen, maybe the Leafs don't. Everyone's talking about Sam Bennett and like Nikolai Ehlers and the top free agents, right? Brad Marchand. And I'm not saying the Leafs just go and, give all that money to those guys. Like they might not get any of those guys, right? I'm not saying it's going to be easy to replace Mitch Marner, but I would not be surprised if Brad Treliving says, you know what? I get it. He's a 100-point player. Like he was great in the Four Nations as well. Like it's not like he's never come up big when it's mattered. We saw it and again, I don't want to be like, it was the Four Nations. Like he was so good. Let's give him a break here. Like, I think like you're crazy if you think Mitch Marner like sucks. Okay, he's clearly like a very good, effective player. He's a 100-point guy. Great. Again, I'm repeating the same fucking thing here, but I think Brad might just be like, fuck it, man. Like, we need to go in a different direction, even if it takes a couple of years to use that salary and wait even for the next free agent crop. I think that's what he might do because I think he showed his cards when he tried to trade Marner for Mikko Rantanen. I think that showed you everything you need to know about what Brad Treliving intends to do. And then with John Tavares, he had a phenomenal season. He had a way better season than I thought he would have. We just saw Steven Stamkos sign a 4-year deal at $8 million a year with Nashville. He's the same age as John Tavares. John Tavares just had a way better year than him. So all these people thinking that Tavares is going to come back on some hometown discount, I wouldn't be so fast. I think Johnny T is going to want to get as much money as he possibly can on what might be like the last big contract of his career. So, I mean, if listen, what do you think what would you say is the percentage that the core four is broken up?
I'd have to give it. I mean, like you said, Matthews is captain. Like, don't you going to trade Austin Matthews? Nylander just signed. So it's a matter of like, I'd say Marner right now with Marner, I'm at 60. I'd say I'm 60%, 65% he's gone is where I'm at with Marner. Tavares, I'd say I think I'm the same the other way. I still think John's going to be back. Like, I still think he'll take the cut to stay in Toronto and just retire a Leaf and all that. And I've said it before. I think the deal he's going to get is kind of like the Tanev deal. Like, people forget, am I not mistaken? Tanev signed till he's like 41.
Yeah,
but, like,
exactly.
We all know he's not going to make it there. So give John, I don't know, $4 or $5 million a year till he's 41 and he'll stop playing at 38 or whatever, right? So something like that. So yeah, I'd say I'm there. It's hard to say overall, but I'd say I'm somewhere between 60 and 70% Marner's gone and 60, 70% that Tavares is going to stay. You?
Yeah, I'm at around 75% chance that the core four is going to be broken up. And it's like I said, I think Treliving showed his cards. I think he's willing to make big changes.
Doesn't give a fuck.
As we saw, he was very close to try. I mean, listen, Mitch Marner has a full no movement clause, so it was going to be very hard to get him to waive that. But Brad saw an opportunity there, and look what Mikko Rantanen is doing. I mean, we can have a whole podcast on the Colorado Avalanche trading away a guy like that. Just unbelievable. But yeah, I think there's around a 75% chance the core four gets broken up. And chances are it's probably going to be Marner who's gone. And then for everyone who says, oh, just give the money to Sam Bennett. First of all, what makes you think Sam Bennett wants to leave the Florida Panthers? And I get it. He's going to get a significant raise. They might run into cap problems. You know, like they had to shed some guys after they won the cup last year due to cap issues. But what makes you think Sam Bennett wants to leave Florida, a team that plays a style that suits him to a T, and come to this pathetic franchise? And I get it. He's from the area. He's an Ontario boy, but what makes you think he wants to come play for the Leafs?
Of course he is. Well, I mean, the weather's a lot better in Toronto, Ontario than it is in Fort Lauderdale, right? Fuck. Nicer things to look at.
Unreal. You got anything else on the obituary here, Lepore, or are you good?
No, I'm tired, Bruno. And not just because it's 11 o'clock. That game just took a lot out of me. It took a lot out of me. I'm numb and humbled. Like I said,
yeah,
I've never felt this way before, man, about the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's just, I can't believe, and I'm going to get a little like emotional fan here and a little selfish. They don't deserve us. And I can't believe they did this to us. Like, it's not about losing. Like, what they did tonight, the fan base does not deserve that. And that's that people, it's all the fans and bullshit, whatever. It's super cheesy talk, but I really feel that way. That, like, the loyalty and the passion that is shown from Toronto Maple Leafs fans across this country, that, and, like, you don't have to go out there and do it for us. You can do it for money. You can do it for personal glory. You can do it. You got kids. You want to leave Stanley Cup rings for your kids, whatever you want. But whoever you're playing for didn't deserve that tonight.
No fan base deserves this shit.
No.
Deserves the garbage that they have put us through. And sure, the jokes are going to continue to be thrown our way. And you know what? Bring it on. I mean, Leaf fans are numb at this point.
Fuck it.
Like, we're ashamed of our own team. Like, there's really nothing that you can say that's going to hurt our feelings at this point. Like, we know how embarrassing this franchise is. But you said it, man. Like, you got to give credit to the Florida Panthers. I said it before the series. Like, this is an elite team. That's why I picked the Panthers to win the series. Like, we can't just completely shit on the Leafs. We have to acknowledge that Florida is a very good team. So with that said, before we wrap things up, tell me who you think is going to meet in the Stanley Cup final now that the Final Four is set, and then tell me who you think is going to win the Cup.
Okay, so I don't think many people are picking Carolina. It's really hard to pick Carolina, and credit to them, credit to the Canes, because they've shown some mojo in these playoffs and kind of surprised everyone, reminding everyone they're still the Carolina Hurricanes, still an elite team, but it's just too much like to bet against Florida. So I got the Panthers winning in the East. In the West, I picked Vegas. I think we both picked Vegas to beat Edmonton, and it was a 4-1 series win by the Oilers. So like the Oilers have that weird thing, and this is a really tough series to call. Like people were going over the numbers and saying, "Man, this one's tough." But and what it's going to be either Edmonton finally, like they keep almost beating teams. I don't want to say that they shouldn't beat, but people know what I mean by that. It's like LA. It was kind of weird how they beat LA. Vegas is a better team than the Oilers. And that's why I think people pick them, and they have the pedigree. They've won before. Edmonton got through it. So like, can they do it again? Because Dallas is a fucking monster of a team right now. That's people. The new word is wagon. Dallas is a fucking wagon.
They're so good
of a team. So that one's a lot tougher than the Eastern Conference Final. But I think I have to go with my brain and say Dallas. So I have Dallas playing Florida in the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm gonna say I can't bet against Florida. I think Dallas can do.
You think they repeat?
I think Dallas can do it. Like, I really like Dallas, and Ottinger is amazing and whatever, but it's close. Like it might go 7 or whatever, but if I had to put my house on it, I can't bet against Florida, man.
Yeah, Florida, this is a scary team because full transparency, and I think we were on the same page with this one. I thought the Lightning were going to knock them out in round 1.
Yeah.
Like Tkachuk injured. They didn't have their whole team together to like fully gel before the playoffs. And clearly none of that mattered because they have been excellent throughout the playoffs. I agree with you. I think the Panthers are going to get through Carolina. I think that's going to be a good series. And I know the Panthers swept them a couple of years ago in the conference final, but those are essentially like the two best 5-on-5 teams in the NHL, Carolina and Florida. I think that's going to be a hell of a series, but I got Florida winning that. And I think this run from Edmonton finally comes to an end. I think Dallas is the best team in hockey right now. You said it, man. Like, just from top to bottom, they are so deep. Like, they are the one team that I think could go like toe-to-toe with Florida.
Sure.
So I got Dallas and Florida in the Cup final, and I'm going to say that the Stars win the Stanley Cup.
Sure. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Has there been... People have always said, oh, like the regular season means shit. And like, don't look into the regular season at all. I feel like this playoffs more than ever has slapped us in the face with that. You had the President's Trophy winners go out in the second round. You had the best team in the East in the regular season go out in the second round. Florida was like fumbling at the end of the season, and they just fucking turn it on. Like, Dallas has been good all year, but this Rantanen thing just like kicks in overdrive. Like, man. It's the regular season more than ever means nothing. Like, you can't read anything into the Oilers. Look at the Oilers. Yeah,
the Oilers. We all thought like they are a shell of what they were last season.
Fuck.
And now they just flipped the switch, and now they're getting secondary scoring, and Stuart Skinner's getting shutouts and
back-to-back shutouts. Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. It's like Edmonton, like they were stumbling and fumbling all season. McDavid having a bad year as far as McDavid goes. Like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
none of it matters.
none
No,
of it matters.
this has been one of those years for like the regular season means jack shit crowd. Like you are celebrating right now because oh my goodness, the regular season has not meant a goddamn thing. And
Nope.
you ran through the entire list. Like, and you know what? We might get a repeat of last year's cup final. Like maybe Edmonton does it again and McDavid and Draisaitl get them through. And maybe we got Oilers Panthers. But yeah, it's crazy. I am not going to get fooled by any of the shit that I see in the regular season anymore. I'm not
No.
going to get fooled by this Leafs team. And I said it. This is one of those years, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bruno, you're such a homer, this and that." I through many points this season, I actually said that the Leafs were kind of fraudulent based on like the profile of this team, and again, how they get caved in at 5-on-5 every night. I have one last take before we end the podcast. I think if the Leafs even stay with this exact same group and just play a little bit of a different style, and they go a little bit back to what they kind of used to be under Sheldon Keefe. And I know it sounds insane, but they used to control the play a hell of a lot more. You know what they were trying to do this year, Lepore? They were trying to be like Greece in the 2004 Euros, like
Yeah.
to a certain degree. It's like,
Look at the soccer reference, Bruno. Look
like,
at the soccer
yeah,
reference.
man, I got some soccer references in the back pocket. Like, that's
Nice.
what it felt like, man. It's like, are we trying to be Greece in the 2004 Euros? Are we just trying to park the bus and get one chance the other way and win every game 1-0? Like, that's what it kind of felt like. Like, Berube is trying to get the Leafs to play the way that the Panthers play, but yet we do not have the personnel to play like the Florida Panthers.
See, that's why I think there's going to be change because as far as GM goes, like Treliving, this was his second year. He's not the new guy anymore. He's been here long enough now. He can make significant moves, and Berube is going to dial in. Berube's going to I'm the guy who's won before. You should listen to me. So that's where I'm like, yeah, this thing finally might flip.
Yeah, and that's another reason. Listen, I know Matthews has been injured all year, but I think that's another reason why you saw Matthews' numbers kind of dip a bit. It's because the style of play this year was a little bit different. Like this team was trying to be like the Florida Panthers, and we tried to out Florida the Florida Panthers with worse personnel playing this system. And that's what I think it came down to. I think they got to go a little bit back to what they were. And I'm not saying they got to be run and gun and give up 500 scoring chances a night, but play to your strengths. You have 4 elite players. And again, that may have been the last game that those 4 guys played together. But I don't think it's as bad, maybe as fans think it is after watching the shit show we just watched. But anyway, that's all I got, Lepore. Any final thoughts before we close this out?
It's time to enjoy the playoffs, Bruno. We'll have some fun on Thursday. We'll get some food. We'll watch the Florida Panthers be in the spot where we thought our boys might be. And yeah, I mean, we're all hockey fans, and like let's call it how it is. When your team's in it, it's really stressful. There's a lot of anxiety. Sometimes it's not even enjoyable watching them. So now it's kind of the time of get angry for a bit, Leafs fans, breathe out, take a big breath, right? And just enjoy it now. Watch and cheer for a certain team if you like a certain player, or cheer against a certain team or player that you dislike, or because your best buddies are fans of that team, or whatever it takes. But I'm trying to turn a negative into a positive, Bruno, as you can tell. But Stanley Cup playoffs, it's that time of year where we get to watch teams that are better than ours.
Time to watch the actual serious teams compete.
Yeah. Boy.
All right, Lepore, I'll see you next week in Toronto.
Yeah, man.
That's going to do it for episode 168 of the Gluttons For Punishment Podcast, or GFP, a Toronto Maple Leafs and NHL podcast hosted by Michael Lepore and Anthony Bruno. Like I say at the end of every show, whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener, you really enjoyed this episode, it would do us wonders if you give us a 5-star rating and review on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching us on YouTube, smash the like button, leave a comment down below with your take on the disaster that we just watched. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you know exactly when the GFP podcast is posting some new content.
Yeah.
For Michael Lepore, I'm Anthony Bruno. Enjoy the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we'll see what our favorite hockey team decides to do over the off season. Yeah, that's it. Jeez, what a terrible end of the season. All right, that's going to do it. Have a good one, everybody. We'll chat.
Thanks, everyone. As I always say, thanks for listening.
Toma máquina, se yo, flow.